So welcome back to Module 2, and Module 2 we are speaking about rebranding for online relevance. Earlier in Module 1 we set the context that there is a new set of rules when it comes to winning online, and we talked about the importance of being able to be quick on our feet, being able to be quick to take things to the market and being able to turn around things faster. Having an offering that's both offline and online, and having what we call a hybrid ability to deliver to clients. Having the ability to be able to put yourself out there and have evidence for people to be able to see your capabilities just as good offline and online. And understanding why is it so important to have a higher set of standards in the things that we do, because the global context is now much smaller. It's almost borderless in our reach, so that we can actually scale and go out there and actually make a difference. And more importantly, at the end of the day, keep things simple, keep things succinct, without having the ability to get to your point quickly, whether it's online messages or whether being able to speak virtually with a customer would deplete your influence factor. Okay, so now we're going into Module 2, and Module 2 is about rebranding for online relevance. Now the idea here is understanding what your brand value is, because your personal brand is your promise to your clients. A promise of quality, a promise of consistency, of your ability and your reliability. So very crucial for us to understand, at the end of the day, how do we tip the scale in terms of the challenges that we are facing in this world today? How much is your brand worth? Can your brand stand the test of time? Will your brand be able to tip the scale during this crisis? And what I mean by tip the scale is that you have one side of the scale is your brand value, the other side of the scale is the crisis and the impact around the crisis. Who tips in which way? Does your brand value outweigh the crisis impact? Is the income and the revenue that you are making during this crisis more than what you're making outside of the crisis? That's when your brand value outweighs the challenges that the impact of crisis bring. Or is the impact of the crisis so great that your brand is unable to stand the test of time? So the crucial part that we have to ask ourselves is, what do I want my brand to look like in the new world order? And what must my promise be in order so that I can meet the current market needs? How am I going to change? How am I going to adopt different ways of making a dent in the universe, so to say, in the online universe? Okay, so I'd like to share with you 10 ways of how you can rebrand your offerings. Now this is crucial because most of us have probably done one or two or three things that have actually extended who we are and what we can actually offer to the market. But it's very crucial for us to understand that there are more ways for us to multiply our income sources. And when we do this, at the end of the day, your brand value will be able to stand the test of time, and you would outweigh whatever impact that crisis might bring to you. Okay, so the first thing that you can do besides training is this idea of offering situational audits. Now, situational audits are tools that you provide to your customer, a service. It's a discovery process to actually help your customer find out what's their current situation in terms of it could be organizational health, it could be sales team's motivational level, sales team's readiness, it could be service quality, whatever it is, right? So at the end of the day, this has to be connected to the extension. It has to be extended from your expertise. So let's say, for example, you're in presentation skills. So your situational audit is not going to be by organizational motivation, but rather it's going to be on this idea of what's the capability of people being able to carry the message of your brand, being able to carry the message of the company, being able to present the company in a very succinct and crisp manner that gets the point across, right? So your audit has to be related to whatever your expertise is, and you can actually charge for that. And I find that if you can do this is another door opener for you, but it's also an additional income generator, and it also stamps the fact that you are a thought leader in your expertise area. Okay, now the second one obviously is this idea on coaching services. Now coaching is an extension of your expertise because it brings people deeper into another level of reflection and awareness outside of the training room, right? There are important points or important opportunities to use coaching as a a performance improvement tool rather than just training, or it could be coupled together and complemented together. Now, if you're an expert in an area and only you or very few people in your area can actually do that type of coaching in that topic, then you can charge a little bit more. But if you are offering something that other people can also offer, but you want to do it in the way that complements your training, then of course your rates would have to then be affected by some market demands as well. Yeah, but typically if you were to set a price point for coaching services around the world, if it's an individual, and we're not talking about executive senior level yet, because senior level coaching you could charge much more, but for perhaps a professional that you're coaching and it's one-on-one, you could probably get away with something around $300 or $400. I think that's a fair rate to pay for someone to pay for one-on-one coaching. And then of course, group coaching you could charge more, and maybe it could be $500 an hour or $600 an hour for a group. Okay, so you can stretch anywhere from there. Now, consulting services are different from coaching, because coaching brings this state of awareness by using questions to help your participant or your coachee get more understanding and more reflection. Now, consulting is a solution that we offer, which what I mean is that we actually give them the answer to solving something. We provide the service of fixing something for that. Whereas coaching, we get them to come up with the answers themselves. So in consulting services, a good way to actually figure out what a rates to charge is based on whatever good training per day fee that you are really charging right now. Okay, I say good means because some of us are not offering at the price point that we should in the market. But if you are offering at a price point that's decent, and for example, maybe your per day training rate is 3,000 US, for example. Let's start with that, 3,000 US per day. Your overall man day charge that you would offer for consulting would be half of that. Okay, so for example, if you are selling for 3,000 US per day for a training fee, then you would your consulting per man day would be 1,500 a day. And you can even break it up to hours if you want. And I find that consulting is very powerful because we don't have to do the whole day. We can slot at various aspects of our day, and it actually fills up our calendar quite well. So, getting an income of 1,500 a day, slotting in the various windows that I have in my schedule makes sense, right? And at the same time, the way that we scope it is also very important. If we scope every single item as a service that we offer our clients, you will see very quickly that the number of hours for consulting and the number of man days for consulting also increases. And that's how you increase your income, even though you're charging 1,500 per man day. Yeah. So everything has to be scoped out. Everything that you offer, from a meeting, for a discovery, from an interview, whatever you're doing, yeah, from writing a report, everything is part of that consulting scope that you can charge for. Now, the next one is this idea of hybrid learning programs. Now, hybrid is different from blended learning, because blended learning is typically instructor-led training, ILT, plus e-learning, which is very much asynchronous, okay, one way. Okay, so which means that's blended learning. Now, hybrid learning is different because it's a combination of instructor-led training. It could be physical, it could be face-to-face physical, or it could be virtual, live, or it could be virtual recorded, together with e-learning, together with application coaching, and together with small group engagement. Yeah. So hybrid learning is more powerful because it helps people really get results, because it's performance-based, and people are able to have time to practice what they learn, apply, and if they're not sure, come back together again and be able to then learn from each other and then improve with the coach's feedback as well. So I find that hybrid learning programs are very, very powerful, and I'll share a little bit more in Module 3 what the format might look like. Okay? Now, if you're an expert in your area, create a certification program. Certify other people who might want to know more about your training. You can sell a certification program for a practitioner who wants to get deeper understanding of what your content is and be able to practice it in a more deeper manner. And then the other way that you sell certification is certification for another trainer, other trainers who also want to train your content. Yeah, because at the end of the day, bringing your expertise to the next level through certification programs extends your legacy and helps you scale a little bit more. And guess what? Doing this online, very powerful. Okay, so the next thing is licensing. So licensing is key because there are two kinds of licensing. There's licensing for trainers who after they get certified and want to use their content, you can actually license it to them with some kind of intellectual property, a percentage charge, or on a profit sharing model as well, and that's fine. And don't forget, you can also license to your customer, yeah, because sometimes running a particular program for 5,000 people may not be feasible in an organization, but selling it as a licensing to them, giving them a much reduced rate where they can actually take their program internally and deliver it themselves. When you do a TTT for them, you charge for that. And at the end of the day, do a licensing package for them so that they can actually take it back to the organization and do it themselves. Yeah. So whatever licensing model it is, you can actually based on a perpetual model, a perpetual calculation model, and perpetual basically means that over a period of time you get back what you want to charge for. And normally in a licensing model, there are many ways to do a licensing model, but a very simple one is based on the fact that if they have 10,000 people who are going to use that content, and whatever you would do in the physical training world, if you were to charge X dollars, you're going to bring it down by 75%, meaning you're only going to charge them 25% of what it would take to actually cost if you were to do that program live. So bring it down to about 25% fees that you would charge to them by way of licensing if they were to do it themselves, and then use a 2-year lockdown process, and after 2 years you might want to offer them that that they don't need to pay you anymore because they have achieved that 2-year target that you have given them. Okay, so it can be based on that. That's what we call a perpetual buyout licensing model. So you can try that model as well. Okay, so partnerships are very crucial, and I have had lots of partners over my past 20 years, and partnership basically means that you want to be able to go into some kind of joint venture with other coaches, other speakers, or other training providers, but you have to do it in a way that actually makes sense, because a lot of training providers pays you a per day rate, and that's fine if you're happy with that. But to me, if you're an expert in an area, you can actually add more value, which means that instead of them paying you a per day rate, they can actually work with you on an idea of whatever revenue comes in, less cost, after cost, maybe split it with you 50-50. And what are the cost items here? Cost items are training fees, intellectual property, cost of marketing, logistics, and materials. Okay, so all these are your costs, and of course there's a base fee that you're going to put in that training fee as well. So all this, after you factor in as a cost, yeah, whatever the revenue is, okay, say that the revenue was 30,000 and the cost items came up to be about 10,000. So the remaining net gross, or not the net, but the gross would be 20K, and that 20K you can divide 50-50 between the training provider and you. And I think that makes sense because it becomes a joint venture partnership rather than just a training provider sending you as a trainer. Okay, then the next one is this idea of short demand courses, on-demand short courses. Yeah, on-demand short courses are very powerful because you can scale. Even though the fees may be very low per pax, just like how Udemy would charge. Udemy has promotion. Sometimes the promotion runs at $11 for a specific program, and it could be even a 4-hour program, but online recorded. But you know what? The volume is great. The masses are great. Yeah. So you don't have to charge $11, but if you were to sell in Udemy, letting them sell $11 would actually be a good marketing lead magnet to actually bring people at the end of the program to maybe back to your learning management system or back to yourself as well. Okay, so treat it as marketing if you are going to sell in Udemy. Okay, lead generation. But if you were to sell it by yourself, for a 4-hour specialized professional short on-demand course, you could probably sell it between $99 US to $199 US, okay, per pax, lifetime access, okay? Then ebooks. A lot of us have written ebooks, but one of the fastest way to actually use it to generate more leads and also maybe to generate some income is the ability to actually chop down your ebooks by chapters and make it modular. Because the more modular you are, then at the end of the day, you actually now have got more content to either use it for marketing, yeah, for a progressive journey that your participants might have with you, and take that and then create a whole campaign around that. Now you can offer it for free, or you could offer it at a fraction of a course, okay? But then you bring everybody back to you for the end outcome, something bigger that you might want to pitch on. And then the final one is assessment tools. Yeah, being an expert at what you do, having the ability to be able to grow your business through assessment tools are very powerful. I personally have my own assessment tool, and I focus in the area of sales and leadership. My sales tool is now being used in 17 countries and has touched, over 50,000 people. Okay, so it's very powerful, and I've translated it to 7 languages, and I'm making money even in my sleep, right? Because you know why? Assessments are online, and you create automations behind them to actually issue the right kind of reports. Now, these are not surveys, these are actual competency-based assessment tools, okay? So when you do this, you leverage on your expertise and you stamp your thought leadership another layer deeper, and it's a very powerful money maker and a door opener as well. So there you have it, my friends, 10 ways that you can rebrand your offerings. I hope that I've given you something to think about, because you can actually multiply your income sources by extending your expertise. Okay, now guess what? 100% of the 10 ways that I've just listed can be marketed and delivered online. That's right, my friend. You can scale, you can grow, you can extend your business and make a dent in the online universe. Very importantly, remember that when we go online, what wins you customer is not products. What wins you customers is not the fact that you have lots of different range of those products or solutions that you offer, but the ability to solve a need, the ability to solve problems wins you customer. And if customers don't know that, if they don't know what you can do, they don't know how you can actually help them fulfill those needs, those become your biggest enemy, not another competitor. Okay, so remember, what does your product solve? What kind of solution are you trying to bring to the market, and how can you make a dent in the online universe in what you do and what you sell? So focus on that. Focus on solving issues, because those win you customers. So I hope you enjoyed Module 2 and you have picked up some key ideas from there. So let's do some assignment to actually take you the next step further. So I want you to select out of the 10, right, 3 areas that you can adapt your expertise to. And in each of these ways, remember I shared 10 ways? Each of this way, right, you're going to choose 3 ways. So for example, maybe you choose assessment tools, consulting, and coaching, for example. So for each of this way, list down 3 relevant, immediate actions, maybe low-hanging fruit actions that you can take to take it the next step further. Okay? And then also apply some kind of revenue forecast to it. Yeah? Some kind of price that you would like to sell for each of these solutions in this product stack that we are talking about. These are all product stacks that you're putting together. You're stacking your product offering, and establish a price point, establish a forecast for the next 18 months, because that would really give you a better focus on how you want to take this forward. Okay, got it? So go ahead with those assignments. We'll see you very soon.